bu. Kıbrıs'tan Saffet Bey burada. En son Azerbaycan'da beraberdik. Londra'dan. Kıbrıs'ta diyeyim ben. Melkan Hanım burada. Buyurun. Taycanlar gelebilir. Chris Hamans burada. Ve Ronald Rovers burada. Nasıl istersen Melkan? Şimdi sürdürülebilir yapılara biraz daha geniş bir ölçekte bakacağız. Öncesinde yine bir filmimiz var. Bu sefer sokakta şunu sorduk. Oturduğunuz evin bakım ve elektrik, su, yakıt gibi işletme giderlerini dikkate alıyor musunuz? Bunun size ne sağlayacağını düşünüyorsunuz diye bir soru sorduk. Önce bunu izleyelim. O sırada mikrofonlar takılıyor. Ardından başlayalım.
Oturduğunuz evin bakım, elektrik, su, yakıt ve doğalgaz gibi giderlerini dikkate alıyor musunuz? Bunları
Dikkate alıyoruz ama bunları azaltmak için hiçbir şey yapamıyoruz. Çünkü hele bir 6-7 yıldır Kadıköy'de hiçbir yere çivi çakamıyorsunuz. Mantolama vesaire yapamıyoruz. Doğalgaz giderlerini şey yapmak için. Çünkü en ufak bir şey yaptığımızda o bölgede tadilat projesi falan istiyorlar bizden. Hiçbir şey yapamıyoruz. Elektrik aksan deseniz binanın tekrardan söküp yapsak binalar yıkılacak. Elektrik kablonu değiştirsek baştan öyle bir şey de mümkün değil. Su tesisatları çok eski. SİK'e başvursak gelip yapmıyor, yıkım bölgesi zaten diyorlar. Altyapıları tamamen değişecek diye. Böyle iki arada bir arada eski sistemle yürüyüp gidiyoruz.
Benim bireysel olarak bir çalışma yapma şansım yok. Çünkü ben şu anda oturduğum lüks bir site. Ama bu sitenin yalıtımı veyahut da imar planı nasıl veya izini nasıl verildiği bilmiyorum ama ben bu odada konuştuğumda yan dairenin konuşması, kendi evimde o konuşuluyor gibi dinliyorum.
Ev kendimize ait olmadığı için öyle bir müdahalemiz olamıyor maalesef. Ama yalıtım konusunda İstanbul genelinde bir eksiklik olduğu bilinen bir şey.
Tabii ki bunları alıyoruz. Ona göre de gerekli yalıtımın olup olmamadığını evi satın alırken göz ardı etmediğimiz konular bunlar. Yani ısı yalıtımı var mı, sıvı yalıtımı var mı? Bunlara dikkat ettiğimiz şeyler.
Daire sahipleri biraz üstlerine düştüğü zaman müteahhit biraz özen gösteriyor yalıtıma. Yalıtıma özen gösteriyor. Yani belirli şekilde yapıyor. Fakat genellikle bu yalıtım nasıl oluyor biliyor musunuz? Kaba sıva yapmıyorlar binanın. Direkt strafor döşüyorlar. Üstüne de ondan sonra bir sıva çekiyorlar. Yani tuğlanın üstüne bildiğim strafor 4 santimlik koyuyorlar. Ondan sonra üzerine sıvayı çekip işi bitiriyorlar. Olay bu. Ama üstüne düşen bir şey oldukları zaman kaba sıvasını da çekiyorlar. Ondan sonra yalıtımın gerekli iyi maddeden de kullanıyorlar.
Bizim ülkemizde de enerji kaynaklarının da günden güne azaldığını baz alırsak şu son 2-3 yıl içerisinde 2010 ve 2013 yılları arasında bu olaylar daha çok cereyan etmeye başladı. İşte kalorimetreler çıktı ısı tasarrufu için, ısı pay ölçerler çıktı. İzolasyonların zorunlu olmasıyla biraz daha halk arasında daha da bilinirliği arttı.
Çok zaten değişen iklimler var biliyorsunuz. Bir anda çok soğuk bir kış yaşayabiliyoruz. Ya da sıcakla ilgili. Binadaki kişilerin, yaşayan kişilerin zaten bina yönetimine bunu söylediğini biliyorum ve bununla ilgili bir çalışma başlatılacak.
Enerji kaybı, işte enerji konusunda da oldukça sıkıntılar var. Doğalgaz ve fosil yakıtların ve nükleer santrallerin gerekçesi olarak da enerji tüketimi çok yaygın ifade ediliyor. Enerji ihtiyacı çok yaygın ifade ediliyor. Bence enerjiyi kaliteli ve sağlıklı üretildiğinde, verimli kullanıldığında bu bahsettiğim fosil yakıtlar, doğanın zarar görmesi, nükleer santraller ya da benzer olumsuz gelişmelerle de karşılaşılmayacak ki yalıtım meselesinde bu haliyle üstesinden gelmiş oluyor.
Bakın enerji bir kere dünyada en pahalı şey. Elektrik enerjisi olsun, yakıt enerjisi olsun. Bunlar en pahalı şey. Su. İleride su savaşı olacak. Su yetmeyecek. Bunları hep kullanmamız lazım. Düzenli kullanmamız lazım. Bina ısı yalıtımlı olursa ısı kaybı azalıyor. Yani onu yapacaksın. Suyu yeteri kadar kullanacaksın, devamlı açmayacaksın.
Evet, bu sokaktaki ses buydu. Şimdi size de bir sorum var. Sizce konut satın alırken halk hangi maliyetleri dikkate alıyor? A. Konut fiyatı, B. Konut fiyatı, işletme gideri, C. Konut fiyatı, işletme gideri, ömür sonu, yıkım, söküm maliyeti. Siz bunu ya 30 saniye içinde tamamlarken ben özellikle yabancı konuklarımla başlayayım istiyorum. Chris Hamans'la başlayayım welcome. Thank you very much joining us today. And I would like to ask you, I think you have a presentation, and how should sustainable urban transformation be? Could you give us some global examples, or could you please give us some examples from your projection?
Urban transformation, I think you have to approach it from a very practical way, because sustainability, you won't be able to achieve any level of sustainability.
Bir mikrofonu verir misiniz oradan konuğumuza? Evet. Is it working? Let's check it. Okay.
Sorry. You won't be able to achieve any level of sustainability if you are not able to answer the functional needs of a building for the future you have designed for that building. That means you have to think about scenarios. And then, let's say, the engineer comes and has to realize your functional needs. If we take this meeting room, yes, if you want to accommodate 300 people, you need a certain functionality. And then technicians come and they realize everything. Fire safety, or what we heard today very much, quite unusual in the Netherlands, earthquake. Yes, all sustainability efforts don't help you if the building cannot resist an earthquake. So the practical approach, the first thing you have to realize to get a sustainable building is to fulfill the functional and technical requirements to a building. And then, once you have realized those technical requirements, or once you have shaped the building, then you are going to measure what is the environmental impact, what is the social performance of the building, and then certainly what is the life cycle costing of the building, so what is the economic effect. We have now a whole set of European standards for that allow you to measure all those things. So it's a matter of setting a requirement that comes always as a minimum requirement from a regulator. And I would say, please stimulate that regulator to set minimum requirements, because then everyone in the market is challenged to bring that performance. The regulator can say, okay, I want to show, I want to have this performance shown, and you have to show that in using this methodology, and then he assigns the set of European standards how to calculate that performance. So as such, I think it's a matter of small steps, but taking major decisions. What is your systematic approach? And the tools are available, all the methodologies, all the system is available, but don't run just in certificates that say it should be environmentally friendly, etc. Think first about the whole system that starts already also with the functional and technical needs.
Okay, I would like to ask another question for you, Ronald. What do you think about what about the energy efficiency in the sustainable buildings? How are you coordinate, or which is the best way to coordinate this efficiency?
Shall I now show some slides? Of course. Like? Yeah? Then I'll start some slides, and
sure.
There it's integrated. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Where?
Ekrana verelim sunumu, rica edeceğim.
Can I have the slides?
Evet. Koş peşinden. Sahne büyük olunca görüyorsunuz burada.
I will.
Evet. Yes, we can see from this.
It's there. Yes. I will try to keep it short. this is natural evolution, and this is what evolution is nowadays. It's obesitas, but not only with people, it's also with houses are getting bigger and bigger. It's also with stuff we own in, this is in a countryside in China and the USA, you see there's a big difference in stuff, and we collect a lot of stuff. It's obesitas in stuff. And this is, well, we buy a camper, but that's not enough. We take another car to bring with us. It's even in houses, the construction becomes bigger and bigger, and this is because we want to save energy, but maybe we want to save energy that we wouldn't have needed when we did a proper construction. And so what happened, and I've heard a lot today, what was very nice to hear that you're very busy exploring urban transformation. This is what happened to us. This is how a village looked like on the countryside with all the resources directly in the neighborhood, providing that, and we exploded in cities, and now we have cities that are obesitas cities, as I could call them. How are we going to manage these? How are we going to make a human civilized city out of this with reduction in energy and materials consumption? And we are trapped in these cities. We cannot survive if the systems fail. If energy delivery fails, you're trapped in a city like the Greeks in Athens already discover and are moving out to the countryside again. So we have to find a way. What is sustainability? This is a balance between what people need and what the earth can provide. And that's limited. We're on an island and we can't get off. So we have to find a balance between these, and we need regulations, like Mr. Hamans said, to explore this. Regulations in the political system, in the economical system, have to supply that balance, locally and internationally, of course. For the moment, we work in a linear way, especially in the construction sector. You know, we take resources, we build something, and we create waste in the end. But it should be a linear way. This is kind of obesity treatment. So we have to find a linear way to do these resources, reduce the volume because we are over-consuming globally, reduce the energy to drive the cycle, and reduce the speed. And this is, you know, what is predicted for the moment. We are here, and this is how materials and the same for energy is going to increase in the next years. So over-exploitation will grow. And this is what happened with, for instance, metals. The same as with oil, we are depleting, and the ore grades are decreasing very fast at the moment, causing more energy to excavate. So we are in trouble in the construction industry. And what in fact has to be done is that we have growth, but growth hits a maximum at some point. And in the CIB, we think that the International Center for Research Institute, that we have hit a ceiling here in growth. Not in all countries the same, but globally the average. And that growth can only go down. And even the Netherlands is, in the construction sector, in the amount of buildings, in the turnover, is somewhere here, just below zero. And we will even go down, not only because we will not construct new houses anymore, but also because the population starts shrinking, which in some countries is already happening, and by 2050 in all of Europe and around will happen. But what we should need to do in sustainability is to increase development, so not growth, but development, which is improving our cities, redevelopment, renovation, reorganization, education, renewability of resources and services. This is the future, not just growth and construction. If you develop that into a building cycle, you can see here that we have to start maintaining and transforming and improving our existing buildings and recycle buildings, and then, well, if we have to demolish, recycle the products, and we compose new buildings only if we have the resources from a renewable source. We can do that. We have zero energy buildings are already established in all countries in Europe. And this is one we constructed as a modern zero-energy building with our university. So that's kind of modern architecture. But also mainly in renovation. Renovation will be the big task in Europe. Maybe not yet in Turkey, but at least in large parts of Europe, that will be the case. This is a nearly zero-energy house refurbishment. This is a test house. And you see that in one day the facade was replaced, the old one taken out, the new one taken in, very well insulated so that we can create a zero energy house. The roof, in one crane move, a new roof is placed over the old roof. And then here you see that we do one house a day, so the whole building train moves one house each day, and in 10 days the house is ready and the inhabitants could remain inside. And it's mainly from prefabricated resources, and this is the end result with a solar roof, etc. And in Europe we have to do 255 million houses or 7 million renovations a year, at least to establish 20% energy reduction as is targeted by the EU. So next 40 years we're pretty busy in the building sector. So we have to go from one project to 2 to 4 to 6, 8, 16, etc. very fast. And end up not only in transforming the houses but the streets as well. Reusing the existing buildings. These are old houses in Maastricht above shops, the main shopping street. And they are empty because there are shops below. But what we do now is to redevelop the first, second and third floor, but bring the entrance to the backyard, as you can see here. And we develop a whole new square with houses around it in the middle of the center, in houses that were previously empty and unmaintained. Greenhouses on the roof for energy and vegetables. If we have to dismantle, we do that selective. We separate all sources and reuse them in the building industry, and even concrete. You know, this is an old 60s apartment block in Berlin. An architect bought it, he dismantled it. It was not designed for dismantling, but he still could do it. He cut new plates from the dismantled building, and from these plates, from the old apartment blocks, he makes villas. They are very popular. This is a way of modern recycling we have to deal with. For transport, there is monorails as the most effective way of doing that. And if you have to build new buildings, we do it from renewable resources, bio-based. This is an 8th-floor apartment block in London, completely made of wood. There's no steel or concrete core, only wood, 8 levels high. It's completely fire resistant, safe, and from renewable resources. So I skip a few slides. These were conclusions from previous comments. We have to enter a European makeover in the building sector. For the industry, that means prefabrication, cooperation in change, not individual companies. You have to get organized together to offer a complete package for renovation or for new construction, not each separately. A larger content from reuse and recycling, increasing a part of renewable materials, servicing your product, long life responsibility, that will be the future, and leasing your products. You provide a service, not a product anymore. We are leasing light for a project now from Philips at the moment. We don't buy the lamps anymore, we lease the light, and they are responsible for providing us with light. And this is happening on a larger scale in many areas now. So the transition will go from fossil energy to renewable energy, from new construction to redevelopment, from global growth to local welfare, etc. So there's a whole transition going on the building level, but also on the urban level. This is what we have to establish the next years jointly to make our future sustainable, maintainable for our children. Thank you very much so far.
Thank you. Evet, teşekkür ederim. Melkan, sen de devam edelim istersen. Saffet'le devam edelim peki. Saffet, Zaha Hadid ofisinde yıllardır çalışıyor. En son Bakü'de yaptığı binayı ben gezdim. Çok hayran da kaldım. 5'ine 1K'da uzun uzun da beraber dolaştık. Haydar Aliyev merkeziydi. Bugün bize İngilizce mi yapmak istersin, Türkçe mi? Hangisinde rahat hissediyorsan öyle yap istersen.
Şu anda yabancı kategorisinde olduğumuz için İngilizce herhalde
Peki.
ekleyeceğim. Ben tabii ki size Bakü'yü yeterince gösterdik. Sustainability üzerinde Londra'da 2012 yüzme havuzu projesinin tasarım aşamalarını göstereceğim.
Peki. Lütfen. Dursun
Pardon.
telefonlar, bir şey olmaz.
Arayan
Aramayız
olur.
kimseyi.
Arayan olur.
Alo Zaha. Bu ekranı da seçebilir miyiz? Aynı rica etsem daha net görelim. Evet.
Aslında bir imaj bin kelimedir dan yola çıkaraktan size bir prezentasyon hazırladım. İlk çok hızlı bir şekilde bizim sorry, I was supposed to talk in English, right? So I'm just going to go very fast showing you built projects, which is from our office, so if you're not familiar. This is like a museum in US, Cincinnati, Science Museum in Wolfsburg, BMW Technical Office, Museum in Rome, this is Opera in China, and this is the Baku project that we opened like a month ago with Cüneyt Bey and some shows. So what I want to talk about is Aquatic Center, which I was part of it from the start. It's a very interesting project because actually Umut Günbey talked about the BRIM, which is like this kind of officials which gives like a grade, and we get excellent on this project. I will show you how London as a city take this project and use to regenerate urbanistically, and at the same time I'm going to show how architecture can be designed with sustainability values. So anyway, there's no projector, but you can see this is the Thames River, and the west of London is very developed, but in the east, next to the Victoria Park, where the yellow area is the Olympic Park, which is assigned for Olympic Park. And so what happened is that for 2012 Olympic Games, London was a candidate city. So what London did, actually take this opportunity to their advantage and evolve and transform, regenerate this area, which was an industrial wasteland, into a new community, and at the same time use it for Olympics. This was how it was before, and in 2004, when I first went to site, it was like a car graveyard, and there was like a wild dogs running, and because it was contaminated, the water and the land, and somehow I'm going to show through this process how it evolved. So the site was very restricted from from riverside, there was rail, and there was 2 power lines on the side, so it was a very tricky site. But what was interesting, as you can see, the red ones are the power lines, and you can see the black dashed lines are the rail, and the blue is the canal. So this is our site, and exactly we were supposed to do a big aquatic center for Olympics, which is going to have like a 17,500 occupancy for an audience seated. Anyway, so that site that you saw, which was like a industrial wasteland, turned into a Olympic Park, and then later it turned into a community in East London, which is like a Stratford and Leighton. So as you can see, what was important that when we were considering our aquatic center, we made sure that we analyze the site urbanistically and see how we can plug in and be part of the urban fabric. You can see there's a Stratford International Terminal, and then how we arrive and how it's distributed and connected to the city. This is a very important slide that I want you to have a look. This is the aquatic center, how it evolved from 2004 to 2012 to the Olympic Games. And that was the first one is the competition entry, and then you will see later the alterations we went through to be more efficient and at the same time make it more sustainable. So I'm going to go in detail. So this is another important slide which shows actually, in general, I mean, one needs to think in long term and not just like doing something fast and get over with it. As you know, there's lots of Olympic venues and cities, they always build very big, and then after the Olympics, those venues becomes like not used because there's not enough people to keep it activated, and they become like a big white elephant which nobody uses and become just a tourist attraction. It becomes like a sad case. So what was important that as an architect, not just to design a building, but design a strategy how this building, this design is going to transform within 10 years and from Olympic mode to legacy mode, which is a community pool. And it's still going on actually, as you can see, we're in 2013, and now the pool is going to relaunch itself as a community pool. The design and the formation of the pool comes from, actually, this is a very, very good diagram, comes from like first the sidelines of the audiences. As you can see, we take the back seat and make sure that they see the swimming pool. So that's how we actually develop the wings, which you're going to see later on that they're actually temporary. You plug them in for the Olympics, and then we take them out. And the below black box is the podium, which includes the mechanic rooms, changing rooms, and the pools. And this is my obsessive model making, trying to see lots of, let's say, shapes, formations to be able to inhabit this, how you can solve this challenge. So it was very interesting. When first London Development Agency came, and they asked, they said that, anyway, the London doesn't have any 50-meter Olympic pool, so we're going to do it, we're going to build it anyway, if we want the Olympic or not. But the smart thing about it is that they came up with such a brief that they used it as a bid for the Olympics. And we actually went and present this project to the Olympic Committee when they arrived, and we said that we have a project already designed, and if we get the Olympics, we're gonna build it. And but the trick is how you design a pool for Olympics, which is going to be 6 weeks, but then later it's going to transform into a community pool, because the Olympic wants 17,500 seats, and then community pool wants 2,500 seats. So there's actually a decrease of 85% shrinkage in the occupancy. And this is the story. First, and this competition, all the European projects, public projects, needs to be competition. So this was a competition internationally, and this was the first project I designed in 2004-05 when I arrived to Hadid Architects. And the brief was how you do something and then it adapts to these two conditions. Initially, they wanted like 4 pools, swimming pool, horizontal swimming, diving pool, and water polo pool, as you can see, 3, and there's a training pool. And they wanted all these 3 different pools in 3 different halls. And that was actually what we proposed, and our scheme won, and then we've been granted. And then later, London became chosen as the candidate city and became the Olympic city. And then later, of course, it becomes very political, and then we start how we're going to sustain it. There's a taxpayers' money and the budget. So we start developing the design further with the input. And the London Development Agency and the Olympic Committee decided that, okay, we can have the horizontal swimming pool and the diving pool in the same hall, so we can actually make the envelope smaller, so kind of reduce in terms of save, and it's more economical. this image shows how actually it was going to be like with the Olympic. As you can see, the temporary seats with the scaffoldings and the screen, and then later we're going to pull that out and we're going to put a glazing. That was the main idea. Then later, this is the revised, altered version that we put the swimming pool and the diving pool in the same hall, and then we said, okay, we put the idea was to put the water polo pool in a temporary blow-up kind of tent, because they didn't want it a water polo pool in the long term. So this was the alteration we did. Then later, the final, which we actually, this what have been realized is, and I want to take your attention to this. If you look at this one, the temporary stands, the structure and the seating is curvy, and the roof is bigger. And that was and then we think how we can take it further and actually make it more economical. So from here we went to this next phase. If you see that the roof is smaller, and somehow the seating, which is not as nice as the previous one, is off the shelf, and it's not custom made at all. So that's why it actually looks a little bit like a tacos in Turkish terms. But then what happened is that, what is the cool thing about it, the roof of this was PVC, which we recycled or sold, and all the temporary seating is from metal decking, are off the shelf, and we already sold them. Not we, I mean the LDA, London Development Agency, already sold them to an Americans for a Formula One drive. So then this was the story how a design evolved, and we shrink it and we shrink it, so then it can come to a community level. The interesting thing, you need to have, actually we were designing two projects. We were designing an Olympic project and we were designing a community project. And you can see from here, this was actually the Olympic mode on the left, and on the right, this is the legacy mode, the community mode, that those temporary seatings go, and then we put the glazing. And you can see there on the right how we introduced the glazing, and all these temporary wings, which is from metal decking and PVC, are gone. I'm going to be faster. Here you can see the 15 temporary seats, which was the extension, and the concrete ones actually forming the platform are 2,500 are the temporary ones, and those purple slab that you see is temporary metal decking, which is taken away as well. And the nice thing about using steel or PVC is recyclable. And so this is showing what's inside, what's outside, and those are the red lines, are the one where we introduce the glazing. Of course, what is interesting, while you're designing, you're not just designing a building, you're designing an organization, you're phasing, and what's going to come first, and how it's going to happen, and how it's going to evolve in time. This is in plan. And another thing I would like to take your attention to, reduce the envelope further. We take the training pool and we put it under the arrival bridge, which actually made us save 1/3 of the envelope. You will see in a section later on. This is the Olympic mode with the extra seats, which you will see that it's going to go. And this is without the seat, where the glazing is introduced, and the park around it. And this is the park. This is the arrival bridge towards the park, and underneath is the one that I was telling you. In this section you're seeing it. There's an arrival bridge which goes across the river, Lee River, and then somehow we take advantage of the bridge, and since it wasn't public, it was just warming up pool, and use that as an envelope and reduce the size of the project. One thing I want to say that was very important to make it carbon footprint, reduce the carbon footprint. That's why it was strictly they used train, and they used canal for construction transportation. And these are the, I don't want to take your time, these are structural, because we have this power lines. Somehow we had to touch in 3 major spots, the red ones, and then we span from north to south. So that's how you can actually plug in the temporary seats, which was removable. You can see it. It's a three-leg roof One reason is because you couldn't put additional columns because of the sight line. Everybody needs to see the pools. The other one was because we had the city power lines which we couldn't disturb. And these are the structural version. As you can see, all these temporary off-the-shelf elements are solved, and this is going to be its final version. And yeah, these are gone. These 2 years after Olympics, we had the Paralympics, and this was the inside with the PVC. It had to be white because of the filming, and during Olympics, you need to control the lights, so that's why it was like that. And then this is the training pool, and under the bridge, you can see that we introduced light. And this is how it was in the Olympics. You can see the temporary seating in yellow, and it was 2012 was the most sustainable city, energy efficient as an Olympic venue. Yeah, and there's the blow-up tent at the back, water polo, which is gone, sold.